they're going to reflect something to you so that you can dust off and say, am I good with that? Or is that part still me? And can I stand in my strength and who I am during that time? And if not, then yes, trauma bonding happens. But these are all good things. So let's not look at it as bad. Let's not look at trauma bonding as bad. Let's not look at wound sharing as bad. Let's look at them as things that show us where we are, show us where we don't want to be, show us where we want to go, and the work we have to do to get there. I've recently heard about emotional trauma bonding, and the concept resonates for me in my current relationship. However, I'm not sure if that's what's actually happening, and if it is, what to do about it. First of all, and this was actually something that was coming through on the question before, but then it went into a different direction. We connect with people based on our wounds. All of us. That's just part of the human nature, because we connect to people for procreation, but also for personal spiritual growth. And sometimes that is to loop us back into the same pattern that we've suffered for years because we haven't done the work, or maybe we've tried to do the work, but we just haven't quite got there yet. So you're going to continue to get partners that reflect to you wounds that oftentimes you share, or there's a vibrational element of it that you share, or that they're going to reflect something to you so that you can dust off and say, am I good with that? Or is that part still me? And can I stand in my strength and who I am during that time? And if not, then yes, trauma bonding happens because you've hit a chord in each other that has now created trauma, and then you come back around and you're bonding over it. And sometimes that can be very one-sided. Sometimes it can be a technique that people use knowingly or unknowingly to keep people in their grasp, to keep people in a relationship, to do something terrible and then be really nice. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt and say that they're oftentimes that's not their intention at all. They just don't know any different. And so if you've attracted something that feels like trauma bonding, I would just come back to what I said in the start of this, which is recognize that we're always connecting on wounds. Yes, we're connecting on love, but deep in there, I always feel like the stronger the chemistry that we have with someone, and the more we feel, the deeper we're going into something that needs to really be healed within us and come forward for us to be able to share in that oneness with each other, which is when each person can be whole and perfect in and of themselves, and then sharing themselves with each other. Look, a lot of people don't achieve this in a lifetime, don't achieve this in many lifetimes. I mean, we're talking about enlightenment. We're talking about awakening inner wisdom. We're talking about really being in that just unbelievably peace-filled self-love that we can anchor into, so that whatever and whoever we attract, we can be in unconditional love and love them unconditionally, as opposed to projecting. And but these are all good things. So let's not look at it as bad. Let's not look at trauma bonding as bad. Let's not look at wound sharing as bad. Let's look at them as things that show us where we are, show us where we don't want to be, show us where we want to go, and the work we have to do to get there. And that specifically, I mean, in relationships and in relationship to ourselves and who we are. Where am I in my self-love? Where am I projecting self-hatred, dare I say, or self-judgment, or, that self, what's the word? Dislike that I'm putting on someone else. And so there's always two people. And the thing I can say to you is if you feel like you're trauma bonding, you're just as responsible as they are. So you have to stop the spin within you and first, and then you will create an environment where the spin can stop for the other person. But don't be attached or unattached to, don't be attached, be unattached to whether or not they have the wisdom within to not spin anymore, because that's their work, not yours. We don't do other people's work. We reflect the work that they have yet to do based on how we can handle the situation and how we can shine the light and how we can stay grounded and centered. And sometimes we can't. And that's okay too. Then it's just then we have that work to do within ourselves. So I think it sounds like you're in a really great spot with this because you're acknowledging that there's something a little off, and just keep coming back to what does it mean for me and why I've attracted it? What does it mean for me and what I have for my own residual inside? And what does it mean for me as far as what work I still want and need to do so that I can release that and be in a blissfully neutral state and not let that person trigger me. And at some time, you may have to say, I'm out. I'm not going to take that trauma, that swirling and reprieve temporarily, forever. Only you know that. Only you know where that's at and where your tolerance level is and where your strength is and where your work is and how you want to work on that. But it is very individual. So again, if that's something you want to work on and go deeper on, I'm more than happy to dive deep into the specifics of that situation and see how we can really learn the juicy nuggets. Because as you know, all of us, if we don't learn the lesson, we're just going to attract it again. So, it's a new package, but it's got the same bow and the same stuff inside. So we want to do the work in the relationships that we do bring forward and in a safe place. I'm not saying stay if it's really abusive to you. I always appreciate every week, 11:11 on Sunday, Pacific time, that you're here with me live. And if you're watching on replay, I love that too, because it's still the same. You can write questions in the comments and I'll be sure to ask and answer them in next week's show. If you want more support, you want to dive deeper into something that's going on in your life, please go over to bethbell.me and check out how we can work together. I put a lot of stuff in the description below as well. There's also the Awakening and Healing Handbook. It's an ebook. It's just jam-packed with great tips, tools, techniques, and methodologies to help you through some of these really challenging times. And there's also the Herpes Handbook, which is jam-packed with some good information as well, and the Psychedelics Resource Guide, and many other things. So, I look forward to hearing from you. Please write in the comments if you've enjoyed the show, if you've enjoyed any of the questions, if they resonate with you, if you have something new that you want to talk about. All right. Until next week, I'm wishing you much bliss and love on the journey. Namaste.